Bishop Wack, thank you for welcoming us to the Diocese of Pensacola, Tallahassee today. We're here with Cross Catholic Outreach. We're here for a food packing to pack 50,000 meals for the poor in the developing world. A lot of your parishioners have come from all over the diocese. We're kind of right in the middle of your rather large diocese geographically. Why was it important for you to be here today?
It's important for me to be here as the bishop just to really encourage people, to help pray with them, of course, but just to be in solidarity with them and kind of show them this is important. Well, you know, it's funny because I'm not really doing anything. I just walk around from table to table and say hello, but I think it's important because to remind everyone, we are the church, all of us together.
It's been nice to see families, adults, and their children. It's really a teaching moment for children to learn about Catholic social teaching. Of course, the poor in the developing world are going to be blessed by a lot of food. What kind of blessings do you think people here that are participating will receive?
I think the blessing for our diocese, for families and individuals is when someone comes here, you know, they think, how are we going to put together 50,000 meals? You know, that's just impossible. I'm just one person. But when they get together and they're with the people around them and they look at other tables, we're actually doing it. You can see that in their faces, you know. And I saw a young person and I said, this is so important what we're doing. And he said, yeah, and it's fun too, which is really awesome for, you know, a member of the youth to say that not only is service good and important, but it's fun. And so that'll bring him back and have him do he'll probably want to do other things because of that.
We saw a lot of joy out there earlier, people laughing and smiling and like a camaraderie, sort of building community, strengthening those ties.
That's right.
Let me ask you something else. You know, a lot of people can also help the poor by giving money. Sort of the same thing, but they might not have a lot of money to spare to give to the poor. They might think, well, my little $10 can't make a difference. Mm-hmm. Talk about the fact that every bit helps.
Everything really helps, you know. Like I said, we are just one person, one family, but when we come together, many hands make light work, right? And we can do so much together. But there are some people also who are not able to leave the house. Some people in nursing homes, for instance, or just homebound. And they say, what can I do? I can't even come to do that, to bag the food. Great. Pray for us. That goes a long way. And certainly if they can contribute, you know, even just a little bit of money. We saw what it did. We all raised the money to do this, you know, we're not just doing the bags, you know, and preparing the food, but we help to pay for it too. And I think that just, we can't understate that even every contribution helps to do great things, even however big, however small.
Helping the poor is part of the social fabric of the church from the very beginning, and we have the saints have often talked about the poor, many of the greatest saints. St. Vincent de Paul once said, go to the poor, you will find God. What other saints inspire you that have sort of talked about the poor?
There are a lot of saints who inspire me, you know, because of their work, their hands-on work with the poor and what they've taught us, what they've written about that. I'm thinking of, she's not a saint yet, Dorothy Day, who founded the Catholic Worker Movement. She particularly inspires me. I worked in a soup kitchen in Phoenix for 7 years, and it's based on her model. But also St. Martin de Porres, who called himself a slave to the slaves. So he put his life on the line for those who were brought over from Africa, slaves, and worked for them, with them, on them, with them. And then who else? Just so many other saints. Mother Teresa is a great example of someone who worked with the poor and those who were dying. I mean, talk about, I think they're the poorest of the poor, dying in the streets. She would bring them into her place of care and care for them with the sisters and make sure they die, knowing that they're loved in compassion.
In his encyclical Caritas in Veritate, Pope Benedict XVI wrote, while the poor of the world continue knocking on the doors of the rich, the world of affluence runs the risk of no longer hearing those knocks. As the world becomes more secular, how do we continue to hear the cry of the poor?
You know, it's important that we do things like this, that we serve others, especially those who are in great need, not because, you know, we want to show how good we are. And it's not a matter of, you know, okay, we have the means, we're going to reach down and help you poor people. But it's a two-way relationship. We need the poor, like like Pope Benedict said, and other saints have said that we need them. We need them to lift us up, not so that we can lift them up, but we need to listen to that voice. We need to hear them calling out to us. We need to pay attention to people beyond our household, beyond my desires and wants. And we just need to open our eyes, I think, and our ears and our hearts, and come together on this. Like I said, we help them to the best of our ability, and they help us. Then they lift us up, and they remind us that we're all children of God together equally.
A lot of Catholic missionaries on the front lines of poverty will say that while they're evangelizing to the poor, they actually feel like they were the benefits of evangelization.
It's funny, when I was in the soup kitchen, we would have people, we would serve 500 meals every night, and we'd have different things like showers and clothes and water and ice for those who were on the streets in Phoenix. And every time we'd have visitors come and volunteers, they would leave after their shift, and they would say, I don't feel like this was service at all, or they were serving me. I got more out of this than I put in. And that's, I was going to say, that's not the secret, but that's the essence of service. It is a hardship, and sometimes it can be, and it is a sacrifice, but in the end, it's so much more rewarding for us.
One of the great legacies of Pope Francis will be his lifting up of the poor, putting it back as the front and center focus for the world. He talks a lot about not just giving money, but giving your time, like engaging with the poor, accompaniment. Talk about how important his example is on that.
Projects like this are very important to help those who are in far off lands. However, also, in addition to that, we would do well to have an encounter with people in our own community. I think of Mother Teresa. She had so many people when she became famous. It was after the article and her Nobel Peace Prize, that people streamed to Calcutta. And she said, what are you doing? Go home. Calcutta is your neighborhood, is in your city. That's where you belong. And so if we can do that and not just help people from afar, but also get to know them, talk to them, encounter them, as Pope Francis says, I think then we're growing together in holiness. It is a two-way street. It is a relationship, and we have that when we can help people right in front of us. This is very important to do this for someone in Central or South America, but we also have so many people in our own communities who are in need, and we would do well to listen to them and grow in relationship with them as well.
Well, it's wonderful that the diocese is collaborating with Cross Catholic Outreach. What are some ways the diocese is helping, like the poor here at home, here in your diocese?
Well, we have a couple of initiatives. We have a house for elderly men who are either homeless or are on the verge of being homeless. We are opening a house for women who are homeless, who are pregnant, so they can come in, have their children, and learn how to parent. We have another house that I'm really proud of these initiatives, these ministries in Tallahassee for former offenders, former violent offenders. Some kind of a group that not many people want to help, it seems, but they've done their time, they're released, and now we help them. They live in community with us, and we're helping them to get a license, get a job, get a bank account, kind of get on their feet so they can re-enter society, So there are many ways. And also second collections. We help pilgrims, those who are in the Christians in the Holy Land and other places. We're helping through Catholic Campaign for Human Development, helping so many projects around the country and the world, so many other things that we're involved in as well.
What you're really talking about is integral human development, which is the term the church likes to use in helping the poor. You're not just feeding them today or giving them money today. You're trying to help them sort of get on their feet. The old adage, teach someone to fish, not just give them a fish. Yeah. That's really wonderful.
Yeah, we try to do sustainable activities, or try to help people to be able to not just be lifted up for a day, but okay, now how can you grow your business, for instance, with microloans or something like that? How can we participate? What do you most need? Maybe they need chickens or cattle or something like that. I know some people think, well, we can buy that. You can through various agencies, and that will sustain a whole family for a year or something like that, or a village, So there are many ways that we can serve. Certainly we need to help people with their basic needs, but also long term. And I think we can do that again. When we come together, we can do great things.
Cross Catholic has a microenterprise outreach where we help families, things like that, chickens and things like that. And it really does help people to feel pride in that they're able to provide for their family. So it really is a beautiful thing that the church does. Bishop Wack, thank you for being here today, for taking time to talk to us. We really appreciate it, and we thank you and everyone here in the Diocese of Pensacola, Tallahassee.
It's my pleasure, and thank you to Cross Catholic for this. This is fantastic. We were providing the people power, but we would not have been able to do this at all, of course, without Cross Catholic. And it's kind of energized this community, I think, and awakened that desire to serve and do more and more. So thank you.